Alright, welcome everybody. This is Nick from O3 Drop. Thanks for tuning in today. So today I wanted to share with you guys my trunks list. This is future trunks from set 2. To be honest, with how big of a problem Mecha Frieza is right now, I'm kind of surprised that nobody's playing this. I know Flying Nimbus can be a little annoying, but I don't think it's enough to really shut the deck down too hard. So let's kind of talk about this. Now, the biggest problem I have with this deck right now is that it loses to androids. Not because of the cell chain, but it's because of the cell chain plus the super combo. To be honest, that's one thing that just really slows this deck down, because they can take you down to 3 cards and that's okay, because the way the deck is designed, you can get your cards back. But when they take you down to 3 cards and then mirror you and then double super combo you and you're just at no cards anymore, like that's when, you know, you're kind of in a little bit of trouble. However, if you can find a solution to that, this is actually a really good deck, I think, right now. I'm not sure how viable it'll be after Mecha Frieza gets nerfed and everyone goes to playing other stuff. I think it still could actually be really good, just because, you know, a lot of decks, especially once Mecha Frieza gets nerfed, they're going to be a bit slower. And so this might be able to take advantage of that and kill them before they really get going. For example, Apes, right? Right now, Mecha Frieza can basically use March of the Apes on turn 2 if they have a decent turn 1. Once that's gone away, you have Super Saiyan 3 Goku who can use March on turn 3 or so. But until then, you know, he's kind of defenseless. And so basically this would look to kind of take advantage of that and see if you could, you know, kill people before they get going. So for those of you who don't know, what Trunks does is during your turn, when you combo with a card that's energy cost is 2 or more, you draw 1 card. I think set 3 actually gave him a really big buff, a lot in part of this card right here. This new super combo just makes him so good. Basically what happens is you don't have to be at 4 life anymore. So, you know, with Piccolo you had to be at 4 or less life. With this, you just have to have 5 cards in your warp. So basically, if you just wait till turn 2 or so to use Time Patrol Trunks, you could already have the 5 cards in your warp or in your drop. So especially at the end of turns, like if you have 4 in your drop area right now, warp them for Time Patrol Trunks, and then don't combo Time Patrol Trunks, let them go to the warp, and at the end of your turn, you're at 5 in warp now. And so being able to have access to your super combos in the first 2 to 3 turns is just really OP. It makes this deck so much better. Now, one thing that I really like about the super combo is that whenever you use it, you basically draw 2 cards. It's such a good card because of that. Assuming it's the first card you combo with and you use it on your turn, basically you attack, combo with it, draw 1 for it, draw 1 for your Trunks ability. It's a good feeling. This feeling gets even better whenever you're awakened, because whenever you're awakened, attack, draw 1, super combo, draw 2 more. So you just drew 3 cards off your attack. And then whenever you factor in the 1 card you comboed with, you're +2 in your hand. It's really good. Trunks has a really good ability to refill his hand very quickly. And that's why I think before the new green super combo, he was actually really good into the androids or cell matchup because of that. It's just now that that green super combo is there and they can finish dropping your hand to 0, it's a little obnoxious. So let's talk about some of the other cards here. So we have the Time Patrol Trunks. This is pretty obvious. Being able to look at the top 2 cards, and if one of them is useless or you just don't need it right now, throw it on the bottom. The thing about this deck though is that there's not really any way to shuffle your deck. So you have to be very careful before you choose to throw something on the bottom, because there's a good chance you're probably not going to see it for the rest of the game. Now, the other thing is you can basically play this Trunks, grab 1, and if you want the second card that turn, just swing with your leader and combo with that Trunks, and then that Trunks just netted you +1. Because you played it, drew 1, which replaced itself, and then you comboed with it, drew another 1, and that refills your drop area, so next turn you can use another black card. Now, with this Trunks right here, the 4-drop, I was kind of looking at this or the one from the starter deck. I do like the one from the starter deck being able to play a card that costs 3 or less. However, in this type of deck, I feel like the only thing that would really be good for is maybe this Gohan, or maybe if you had the Shun Shun or Haru Haru, whichever one untaps your energies. Those would be the only things, but the thing that I don't like about that is this costs 4 to play. Well, the starter deck version does. So unless you played the black card that untaps your energies, assuming you're playing green or yellow, against green or yellow, I just feel like this one's better. Because what this one is it only taps 2, so normally you're probably going to have 1 or 2 energies left open. And then it lets you go into your warp area and get any battle card back. So do you need a Champa to make your leader double strike this turn? Cool, grab that. You need a super combo for added draw power? Cool, grab that. Whatever, you need a Kaba to end the game, you need a Gohan to end the game, you need this Gohan to end the game, just grab whatever you need and you can play it. Well, you know, pay for it to play it. But in this deck, you don't pay more than 3 for anything, so more than likely you'll be able to play it if you want to. So with the blue package here, we do have the Senzu Bean, the Whis, the Mai, and the Trunks. I like Senzu Bean and Trunks just for the untap. I don't necessarily, like, I'm glad Senzu Bean gives you the +5, but I really just like it for the untap in this deck, because your turns 2 and 3 can be really crazy. Between Senzu Bean and Trunks, like, you can just pull off some crazy combos and just play so many threats in one turn, it's crazy. Now this Whis, if you really want to, you can actually take the Whis out, and you can replace it with this Gohan. The good side of that is the Gohan definitely gives you like another beater on the field, so you can combo with it for defense, and then on your turn you have a beater. The reason I picked the Whis is because it just straight up negates the attack. So like, if this Gohan's not enough to block the attack, then you're wasting other cards out of your hand, whereas the Whis can just straight up block the attack for you. It also doesn't cost an energy, like it technically it does, but you get to restand it. So whereas this, it just costs 1 and you're just out 1 for the turn. So I like the Whis. It is something you can trade out if it's not something you're a huge fan of, but I do like it. So then on to the Mai. With Mai, a lot of people were on the fence about Mai even back during set 2. So if you don't know, if Future Trunks is in your battle or your leader area, you can play the Mai for free. And she does have blocker. So what this means is that basically you get a free blocker. Now, I have killed people with Mai. So, you know, someone's down to 1 or 2 life, I'm tapped out or something along those lines, and they think I have nothing left. Throw down Mai, swing, combo with the Trunks down here, untap an energy, combo Champa. Like, just basically combo, and suddenly I'm sitting there with a 65k double strike Mai that my opponent was not expecting. I have killed people with Mai plenty of times. A lot of times now at my locals, whenever I play this deck, if I even swing with Mai, they'll just negate it. Same thing with Majin Buu. I'll do the same thing on Majin Buu. If I'm playing an aggressive deck and I lay down a Buu and swing with it, a lot of times they'll negate it, or even some people will just Mafuba it if they have Mafuba. Like, I have had my Majin Buu Mafuba before. Now, this could also be another card that you take out for the Gohan. You do also get the Trunks ability off the Mai too. So like, if you just don't really need the Mai at that moment, you can just combo with the Mai to you know, activate the Trunks ability. The other thing is you can really trick your opponent with the mind games, because let's say you have 8 cards in hand, but 4 of them are this Mai. Out of nowhere, you can just lay down all 4 Mais and then drop this Gohan, and your opponent has no idea what just happened. So that's another reason why I really like this Mai, is it lets you kind of empty out your hand and mess with your opponent. So moving on to the Trunks. This is pretty self-explanatory. On your turn, whenever you combo with it, you get to untap any energy you want. I like this card as well because, again, it creates surprise plays. Like, that's what this deck is about. Like, you want your opponent to think, oh, there's nothing you can do to me now, and then surprise, they're dead. So with this Trunks, you can tap out. So like, let's say turn 3, you have 3 energies. You lay down this Gohan. You swing with your leader. You know, maybe combo something, maybe don't, whatever. But then you swing with Gohan, and they're like, okay, well, I'll let this go through because he has no energies left. Suddenly, you combo Trunks, you combo with Bean, you combo with another Trunks, and all of a sudden you have 3 energies open. Here comes this Gohan, or here comes a Kaba, or, you know, just anything like that. Here comes this Trunks. So I really like this Trunks because it gives you the ability to just surprise your opponent out of nowhere with really nice plays. Now, Planet M2, I think this is a really spicy card for this deck. I'm only running 3 because I think 3 is kind of the perfect place for it. I don't want this deck to basically clump up at the end of the game. So like if I've only drawn 1 so far in the game, I don't want to draw into 3 of these late game when I really need combo pieces or battle cards. However, I want to play enough that I see it, because the way this works is you play it down the field, and every single turn after that you have a 5k combo. With your leader not having to awaken anymore to use your super combo, this is really good because it basically evens the battlefield. So if they're at 15 because they're awakened and you're at 10 because they're not, you swing in, use this, and now you're both at 10. So it's like they're not awakened. The other thing is, if they try to play cheap blockers on you, like let's say they throw out a Yajirobe so they can kill your Kaba or your Gohan or something, swing with your leader, Planet M2 the Yajirobe and kill it, and then they don't have their blocker anymore. You don't have to swing at a battle card to kill it with M2. So let's say they have their own Kaba. You can swing at their leader, Planet M2 the Kaba, and there goes their Kaba. So I just feel like this has a lot of really good plays in this meta. Again, anything from evening the battlefield with their leader to killing their 5k pieces. This is also good against like Broly, because you know if they lay out the 1-drop Broly, you can kill it so they can't evolve it. So I think both Kaba and Gohan are probably pretty self-explanatory. Take a life, gain double strike, 1 energy, really good early game. Gohan, you have a choice between double strike or drawing a card. This also feels really good in this deck because it's kind of like swinging with your awakened leader. You swing, draw a card, combo something, draw another card. Especially if it is your super combo or your Goku, because then you're drawing 2 cards. Like, it just feels really good. Plus it's 15k, so you know once you buff that up a little bit, it's nothing to laugh at. Now these Champas are also really good in this deck, and the thing is, once your opponent knows that you're playing them, which it should be obvious if you're playing Trunks, they have to respect that every single time. So like a lot of times people will try to be like, if they know that you don't have a double striker and you're just swinging with a single strike, if they're at 2 life and they think they can win next game, they'll let it go through. You know, no negates. Okay, well I'll try to combo to block this, but if not, oh well, it's just 1 damage. However, if they have to respect the Champa, they're going to play entirely different because they know that any attack could become a double strike. Are they at 4 life and you swing with a single striker? Okay, I'll let it go through. Sweet, it's now double strike. And so they have to really respect that. And even if all of these are in your drop area / warp, you can get them back with this Trunks. So with this Trunks, you have the ability to go from 4 life to game in 1 turn against your opponent. Lay down the Trunks, grab this, swing with your leader, and then swing with him. And there's 4 damage in 1 turn if both attacks go through. So yeah, even if there's 4 already in your discard pile or your drop area or your warp or whatever, you still have the ability to get it and use it, and your opponent really has to respect that. Now this Goku, it feels really good in the deck because whenever you combo with it, you basically get to draw 2 cards. However, the thing that I will say is I don't like that it costs 1 in this deck. Obviously in my Monkeys deck it's free, so I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it costs 1, but it is basically still another super combo. I mean, you're paying 1 to get a 10k combo and draw 2 cards, so it is still really good in the deck, especially since you can do it on your opponent's turn as well. Between this, my super combo, and a few other things, I was actually able to stop a 95,000 double strike attack for game 1 time, and then just killed my opponent on the swing back. It was beautiful. So finally we have this Gohan in the main board. He's pretty self-explanatory. Get your opponent down, drop him, surprise attack. One thing that I like about him is that if your opponent has anything, like if they tried to do something silly last turn, like let's say maybe they tried to swing in for game with a Majin Buu or something stupid, Not that anyone would ever do that, cough cough. But, you know, let's say they try to do something like that. Or even let's say they swung with a Kaba last turn. That's actually a more realistic thing here. You can lay him down and attack the Kaba for game, or attack the Majin Buu, or attack whatever is, you know, weaker for game. I have had people use the new Kaba, the green one, to attack me with before. So you can lay him down and swing at the new Kaba. Planet him to him. The new Kaba comes down to 5k. So, like, at that point, if they don't block that attack, then they're taking 2 damage. And if they only have 2 life left, well, guess what? They have to block your attack or it's game. So I really do like this in this deck. Now, for the side deck on here, I literally just threw together a bunch of cards that I thought could maybe go in the deck, but I wasn't sure if they were cards that I wanted yet. The deck still needs a little bit of testing and to be more refined, but here's kind of what I was looking at. So right here, we do have the Trunks from the starter deck. This is the one where you have to have a Trunks on the field already, and you Xeno Evolve by paying 4 energies and sending your current Trunks to the Warp. This goes really well with Time Patrol Trunks. The reason I don't like it in this deck is I feel like there's not enough targets, because what it lets you do is it lets you go into your Warp and play a battle card that costs 3 or less. I feel like in this deck there's not enough targets, because this guy, I don't know if he actually reduces the cost while he's inside your Warp. As a matter of fact, I might have to look that up real quick. Hold on, because that would be pretty OP. Let's see. So, let's see. Yeah, so it only reduces the card in your hand and battle area by 4. It doesn't actually reduce it in your Warp. If that was the case, this card would be infinitely better, because then, you know, if you have 3 cards in hand, summon this and, you know, call it a day. So I definitely think that if that was the case, this card would be a lot better, but it's not. So personally, I prefer the SR Trunks. Mira, this was just something, you know, to consider. It's got 20k critical for 4 Overrealm. I don't really like it, but again, something to consider. The Bardock definitely helps against the Veggie package, because you can clear a lot of their board with 1 card. So this is probably something that I would sideboard in for the Veggie package. The Foo is something that I would probably sideboard in against the androids, because I think this is something that you can use to help answer that, because it does let you draw the cards. And again, only costing 1 energy. That's something that's really important in this deck. You don't want to pay more than 1 or 2 energies for pretty much everything you play, with the exception of the 3-drop Gohan. The whole deck is built around dropping stuff for 1 or 2 cost and then swinging on your opponent and killing them before they get going. Yajirobe, so if you're playing against monkeys and you think that they can get out and get started before you can, or before you can kill them, you can basically switch the Mai out for the Yajirobe, and he can, you know, revenge block and kill the monkeys. Gohan, I kind of touched on that earlier. He's a really good defender, plus you have a 15k attacker to swing with. Against Mecha, I'd probably consider this. I'm not sure what I would take out for. Either maybe the Whis. Yeah, either the Whis or Mai, I guess. Maybe even this Goku, but yeah, probably just the Whis or the Mai. Jocko, I've never liked this card personally. I just don't like putting cards back into my opponent's hand. The only time that I've ever like played against this card and felt like, oh man, I wish they didn't do that, was one time when someone saved 4 of them. And so I swung in with a 100k double strike and they used 4 of them and bounced 4 of my cards back. Other than that, like, I just don't think it's that great of a card, but it is something to consider if you do like it. Grand Tour Spaceship. It would let you cheat out your Gohan. The 3-drop that is. But I don't think there's quite enough in the deck to really make it worth it. Actually, it doesn't even let you cheat out your Gohan, does it? Because it has to be a Trunks. Yeah. I was considering that because I was thinking about the Quick Rush Trunks along with this Goku. But now that I realize, yeah, it is only just Trunks and Goku basically. So I don't think that would really be too worth it. unless you went with this full package of 4 of these and 4 of the Quick Rush Trunks. So the Quick Rush Trunks, 2 cost Double Strike 15k, or sorry, critical 15k. This would actually be decent, or even this would be decent if you do decide to go with this Trunks, because this Trunks can pull one of these back from the discard pile or from the warp for you and play it. Now, what would be interesting is if you did play this Trunks and you played this Goku, I would probably put in 2 of the 6-drop dual attack double strike Gokus, because then you can play this, pull this Goku out, attack with the Trunks, use this Trunks to get energy back, and then, assuming you're at 4 or less life, you can EX evolve into the other one, and then you have a 25k that becomes a 30k dual attack double striker. So that would be a decent combo there. If that's something that you think might work, I'd try it out. Now, Fearless Pain, I just don't feel like this has enough cards in this deck. Like, you don't normally have more than maybe 2 things out at a time. So I just don't feel like it gives enough of a boost to the deck to really make it worth it. In the actual Pain leader deck, you end up having times where you have 4 or 5 battle cards out. And so dropping down the Pain off of like a Chain Attack Trunks or something, you buff everybody and they can all swing in for decent numbers. Here, you're probably just going to have Kaba and Gohan out. Maybe sometimes you'll have this out, or like even in my, like, Grats, you have a 10k Mai. Like, and that's only if it works. I think it's only red battle cards now I think about it. So even that, like, that's just, yeah. I just don't feel like there's enough in the deck to make Fearless Pain really worth it. Now, Jiren is another really good sideboard option, especially in your Monkeys matchup, because, you can swing into the Monkeys and kill them on your turn. The only reason it's not in the main board right now is that it costs 4 to play. I really don't like having to pay more than 2. This Gohan at 3 is only because of how good it is. But this is an option, so keep this open. I'd probably sideboard this in for maybe the Monkeys, maybe take out this Goku for it, or even take out the Gohans for it, depending on how you feel about both cards. One other card that I didn't think of until just now is Topo, the new Topo from the set. You could probably put in 3 Topos and 1 Jiren and take out the Whis. My only concern there is then you're kind of running low on blue cards, and you only need 1 blue energy. So, like, by turn 3 or 4, you should have like 1 blue and 2 or 3 reds. But at the same time, I still don't know if I'd want to get rid of all my Whis. Or just because, again, you're running out of blue energies. So, that's the deck. It's not quite perfect yet, but if you can make some changes to it and you feel confident about it, I would actually consider this weekend, especially from watching the PPG stream this past weekend. I feel like a lot of them are going to be running Mecha Frieza, and just from Facebook and everything else, I feel like there's going to be a lot of Mecha Frieza there. And so if you can practice this against androids and do decent against androids, and maybe even practice it against the Goku and do decent against the Goku, I mean, this is something I'd consider if you're going to San Jose. Practice with it this week and see. Let me know how it goes. So yeah, as always, if you guys have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below. I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great evening.